Manchester United have made a major move in the race for the first ever Premier League title. 3 points from the Manchester derby last week made it 3 wins in a row for United. United aim to close the gap on leaders Norwich City, who visit Old Trafford today. Norwich, the surprise package of the season so far. All the weekend's goals to follow later, with Tottenham, the pride of North London tonight, as they condemn Arsenal to a 4th successive league defeat. Welcome to Old Trafford for the day's major contest. Norwich City, surprise pretenders to the Premier League crown, facing the might of Manchester United. All the best action in a moment. But first, news of 2 matches played earlier in the week. The 147th league meeting of the Merseyside Giants drew 36,000 to Goodison. Everton struggling this season. Liverpool's fortunes have picked up lately. 3 league wins in a row before the derby. Liverpool were the first to show. Ronnie Rosenthal's shot saved by Neville Southall for one of their most productive moments. Everton's own lack of confidence in front of their own supporters was clearly inhibiting them. And just after the hour, their worst fears were realised. A Mike Marsh corner headed in by Mark Wright on his first appearance in the senior side for 7 games. But unexpectedly, within seconds, Everton were level. Maurice Johnston with a curling shot that caught Mike Hooper in the Liverpool goal unawares. Relief for manager Howard Kendall, but Liverpool's lead was nearly restored. John Barnes striking a post. Then, with just 6 minutes to go, Everton joy. Peter Beardsley, formerly of Liverpool of course, exchanging passes with another Anfield old boy, Gary Ablett, to score the winner. Everton 2, Liverpool 1. At Ayresome Park, a Hitchcock thriller as Chelsea goalkeeper Kevin Hitchcock almost single-handedly defied Middlesbrough. This one of Hitchcock's most memorable moments, a stunning save from Borough new boy Craig Hignett. Then more heroics from Hitchcock to keep out Tommy Wright's effort, deflected by Hignett. The impressive Hignett managed 15 goals for Crewe before his move to Borough last month. Maybe he didn't have to face keepers of Hitchcock's class every week. Inspired by Hitchcock, Chelsea improved considerably after the break. Graham Stewart coming close to a goal. Agile keeping this time by Borough's Stephen Pears at the other end. Borough continued to create chances too. Hignett unlucky here when his shot struck the bar. This was Hitchcock's night though. Clearly the arrival of Russian goalkeeper Dmitry Karin at Stamford Bridge has been just the spur he needed. Borough 0, Chelsea 0. So this is how the table stands then, following those games. 3 vital points for Everton from the Merseyside derby, only their 5th win of the season, but without doubt their sweetest. That point at Middlesbrough moves Chelsea into 2nd place and reduces the gap on Norwich to 7 points. Still a healthy lead though for a side who've been transformed this season after narrowly avoiding relegation back in May. Norwich in fact have scored in every league match so far. The main reason, the flair of Mark Robins in front of goal. Robins arrived from Manchester United in the summer and has already proved to be the signing of the season. He's got 12 goals so far, including this hat-trick at Oldham. United was a wrench, of course, for Robbins, who was an apprentice at the club he faces then today. A real test of nerve for Norwich, who meet a United side on a roll of 3 straight victories. With all the team news from Old Trafford, match commentator Martin Tyler.
Well, Brian Robson picked up a groin strain in training yesterday, so Steve Bruce is captain against his old club. And Eric Cantona, after 45 minutes here in the Manchester derby last Sunday, is in from the start today. Brian McClare moving into midfield. Ryan Giggs has recovered from a damaged ankle. The name of Mark Robins shines out today in an unchanged Norwich team, but there are other connections with Manchester. Darren Beckford was born here and played for Manchester City. So too did Welsh international David Phillips, whose 7 goals from midfield have been a great support to Robins. The Swedish international Patrick Andersson has had preliminary talks about a possible transfer from Malmo to Norwich, and he's a particularly interested spectator here this afternoon. Roger Milford is ready. Last season, United shrugged Norwich aside. 3 goals in an 8-minute spell in the first half, game over. But this City side seems to be made of sterner stuff, and they have to be taken seriously. Here's Gary Pallister. Number 3 for United, Dennis Owen. McClare in midfield, using his versatility again to plug a gap. It's always a feeling amongst the Manchester United diehards that the side isn't quite the same without Brian Robson. Well, they've got an opportunity to prove that argument to be false. In spiting it, making light of the absence of the captain. Ian Crook, who's a deft passer of the ball, one of a number of former Tottenham players in the Norwich ranks. Peter Schmeichel trying to avoid Robins to clear. Forward from Giggs, not with any degree of accuracy. Bruce getting the better of Robins. Over McClare, Lee Sharp wearing 5. Nice interplay between him and McClare, and now Hughes. And broken up by Butterworth, who was caught by a late tackle by Ince, who claimed that he was going for the ball, but he didn't get it. But there are very good signs of a greater maturity about Ince this season. Never been short of talent. But he's played 3 times for England, his first 3 caps, all since the start of the season, and that's had a very beneficial effect to his overall game at club level. Ince again, off goes McClare, out comes Brian Gunn. And the man at the helm of the club, Alex Ferguson, who's paid tribute to Mark Robins, although he's been somewhat embarrassed by the number of goals, 12, that Robins has scored since he left Manchester United. But it was one particular goal in United's colours by Robins at Nottingham Forest in the 3rd round FA Cup tie almost 3 years ago that really kept Alex Ferguson in a job. Fox. Immediately 2 Manchester United players getting to him. Owen will need help from Sharp, and he's got it. Cantona, who's contributed for United by his presence at the club. Now he's got a chance to do it out on the pitch over a full 90 minutes. McClare, good try. He's been a thorn in Norwich's side in recent meetings. If anything, hit it too well. Shot thumping into the midriff of Gunn. McClare again, foul by Owen, found by Owen, McClare's put it wide. That was a good opportunity, and suddenly Manchester United asserting themselves after Norwich had started to control the tempo of the game, but Owen saw a gap, McClare got to it just as the ball arrived, just off target. 10 minutes gone. And twice in a matter of moments, McClare showing Norwich City that just because he's in midfield today, that doesn't mean he's not a threat to their goal. Ian Crook is the injured player, Tim Shepherd the physio. And Roger Milford again, never short of a word or two. He's a natural communicator. Alex Ferguson letting others do the talking on the bench at the moment. Brian Robson on the right of the pitch, second from the right as we look. Clayton Blackmore, extreme right, who is a substitute today. Robson, let me remind you, ruled out with a groin injury, picked up in training yesterday. Owen. Cantona showing. Hughes. The run on for the Frenchman. Now Ryan Giggs. Sharp's got into the centre as well. Giggs slips Bowen easily. Parker to keep the pressure off. Giggs again. Well, that's fine defending by Such. But Bruce. Sharp waiting on the edge of the area. Bruce using Hughes. Getting into the centre himself. And Roger Milford just checking with the linesman. It is a goal kick. Norwich are going to have to make an early substitution here. Ian Crook, who was injured earlier, is going to have to concede to that injury. Gary Megson, another player here, born in Manchester and signed from Manchester City by Norwich. And because of that connection, it's not getting the warmest of welcomes here at Old Trafford. So it's Megson for Crook. And in a way, possibly that, with no disrespect to Gary Megson, but it's disrupted the planning for Norwich, and in a way, perhaps just evens out the loss of Brian Robson before the game, for United. Keep a close eye on midfield as to see who bosses that department. Here's Sharp. He's been allowed to run a very long way. Cantona's taken from him by McClare. He's certainly not the greatest danger, really, Brian McClare, in the early skirmishes here. It's a throw that Irwin will take. Cantona clipped it up nicely. Hughes so strong with his back to goal. Parker has got the better of Bowen. And Parker tries for goal himself, and that would have been a collector's item. In a distinguished career, Parker's league total of goals is only 3, none of them in the colours of Manchester United. That nearly changed. Push by Pallister. Megson, who's on because Crook, we learn, has strained a calf muscle. Beckford. It's Darren Beckford's second season with Norwich City, and he has had a difficult time recently with injuries. But he, almost as much as Robbins, has definitely a point or two to prove back in Manchester. And as you saw with his willingness to shoot then. McClare. Forward early from Irwin. Again, Hughes does well. Cantona read it beautifully. Giggs. It's fine football from Manchester United. Ince. Cantona has miskicked it. Sharp can't turn it in. It was a glorious opportunity. And it would have been a classic goal, because everything was right about the build-up until it came to the shot, and even then Sharp might have scored after Cantona had miskicked. Ince getting round the back. And everything really for Cantona to aim at, although there were bodies around him, of course. With decent contact, he had a very good chance of scoring. Robbins. Fox. Now that's an interesting ball for Beckford. And now Robbins, is a chance for him. And Schmeichel has kept it out somehow. And Mark Robbins reflects that he was absolutely in the right place with that instinct for goal that he developed here at Old Trafford. But he couldn't give the headline writers what they wanted there. Peter Schmeichel stopped it. It's still 0-0. It's a corner to Norwich. And it was easy for Bruce. Cantona just sensibly getting it out of harm's way. But really the clearest chance of the game for Norwich, and possibly even more straightforward than the one that came for Cantona, who was more central but was certainly surrounded by more opponents. Free kick to Norwich. Phillips hugs it goalwards, only as far as the wall. Bowen, Megson. No sign of any inferiority complex here for Norwich City. Manchester United have the tradition, and now they have the ball. And Hughes put through by McClare. Out comes Gunn. Hughes has gone round him and can't finish the job. It was a straightforward stop for John Polston. And after a period of play when the defences were starting to dominate, first Robbins at one end, then Hughes at the other, with clear opportunities to tilt the game either way. Neither taken, still 0-0. Owen. Hughes. Cantona trying to get round Bowen, and he's done so. Gunn stopped it, Cantona again, McClare! It stayed out. Norwich would have felt that the whistle should have gone for a push by Cantona. United still have the ball with Ince, and Gunn grasps it gratefully. My word, a flurry of activity as we come to the finish of the first half. But Cantona, through brute force and any blinding brilliance then, was allowed to go on against Mark Bowen after a stern physical confrontation. We're in stoppage time at the end of the first half. The two men that we featured really at the outset, Mark Robbins and Eric Cantona, will go to the dressing room, each feeling that they could have scored here, should have scored here. Cantona with a couple of chances, Robbins with one that normally, when he's razor sharp, and to be fair, he hit the target, he made Schmeichel save it, but you would have bet on him to have converted it. And plenty of fine passing of the ball from both sides from midfield, and much more goal-mouth activity as the half wound to a close. At half-time at Old Trafford, it's Manchester United 0, Norwich City 0. Norwich City, who've never finished higher than 4th in the top division in England, and only last May ended up in 18th place, just 3 points away from relegation. And although they've had their difficult moments defensively in the first half here at Old Trafford, they've certainly had an even share of the ball in midfield. Fox. Here's Ince. Phillips saw that coming. Pallister arm raised for offside, but Gary Megson with something to chase there. It's a goal kick. Megson has fitted in snugly. Been around a long time now. Schmeichel with one very significant save. First and foremost to stop Norwich taking the lead through Mark Robins and to spare Alex Ferguson's blushes. The manager who allowed Robins to leave Old Trafford at the start of this season. Megson. And this is such. Oh, Robins. Oh, Parker. That came off nearer the heel of the boot. And it is a corner. And a heart-stopping moment. But Mark Robins was nearly in full cry of jubilation then. It avoided him. And Parker put it behind, but far too close to the goal for his own comfort. It's a corner. Phillips to take it. Out comes Schmeichel, made it his, wants to use it quickly, does. Ryan Giggs gave him someone to throw the ball to. And Bowen, who is a colleague with Wales, was a skillful opponent here with Norwich City for Ryan Giggs. Megson loses Ince. Robins. For home support trying to influence proceedings now. But they'll be worried here. It's Robins. There are 4 up for Norwich. Oh, and it didn't quite reach Phillips. It was furious. Beckford had made the first run nearer the ball. That was an opportunity. Ince, there's a spread to the game at the moment. Giggs. Here's Sharp. United's turn. Oh, a missed kick by Sarches, perfectly for Hughes! Oh, it was gift-wrapped. In the 14th minute of the second half, Mark Hughes scores for the 4th game in a row. And poor Daryl Such, left in despair. Delight for United. And Hughes, so decisive. And that came moments after Norwich had got themselves into a position of real menace at the other end. Well, they've come from behind before this season, and now they'll need to keep their run of scoring in every game going, or they're going to be beaten here at Old Trafford. There's been a call from the Norwich City bench to Chris Sutton, who seems as though he's going to be required as a second substitute. Down on the bench, he's just removing the first protective layer. Butterworth's gone forward. If Sutton comes on, he'll certainly bring some height at set pieces. He waits on the sidelines at the moment. And Bruce clears easily. Culverhouse. Hughes. Culverhouse nagging away at him. Good work from Ince. Here's Sharp. Phillips has got back. Still Sharp. Hughes has got to it. And in the end, when Mark Hughes, I think, was still thinking about trying for goal himself, Ince said, "That's mine." But they were outnumbering Norwich for a moment or two, Manchester United. Fox. And Chris Sutton will come on the next time the ball goes dead, which is here, if Roger Milford can be distracted. Well, Darren Beckford, Manchester born, goes off, not finishing the game at Old Trafford. 15 minutes left, and 19-year-old Chris Sutton, who's got Norwich City well and truly in his blood. His father played for the club. He's asked to help here in a rescue act in the closing stages of a very significant fixture indeed. McClare. Whose tally of goals for Manchester United is now 105, which is a great return. This is his 6th season. Fox. Cantona. Helped out by Ince. Giggs. Freedom here for Cantona. He needs to pick the right ball, and well, it wasn't far away from being just that. It was Culverhouse who towed it away from Hughes. And Norwich keep it at 1-0 by the skin of their teeth. But United, since the goal, have looked the more likely side to score again. Cantona. McClare trying to turn. Ince. McClare's flick. Oh, it almost got through to Steve Bruce. Good play by Sutton, who was marking diligently, having come back with Bruce. And it's United's throw, and Norwich desperate to get the ball away from this area. Can't do it. Cantona, just, I think his eyes, where he was looking there, indicated his intention. Giggs chasing and reaching. Yes. Well, Bayern's had some good success against them, but there have been gaps appearing elsewhere. Irwin, Hughes, Irwin. And Pallister finding plenty of pairs of eyes from his teammates looking at him. Sutton. Cantona. For Hughes. Was it handball by Paulson? No. Phillips, it's got to go forward quickly. Not quickly enough. Major headway made here by Manchester United in the Premier League. The Trailblazers, Norwich City, are pegged back by Mark Hughes, his 10th goal of the season. He's scored in the last 4 games now, and Norwich failed to score in the Premier League for the first time this season. United helping not only their cause, but all those clubs in the chasing pack. No happy return for Mark Robins. Eric Cantona, though, with 90 minutes under his belt, which will be of immense value, I'm sure. And Norwich are beaten again in the Northwest, where all their setbacks this season have been staged. Manchester United coming towards the holiday period in fine form and festive spirit. They've beaten Norwich City by 1-0. Alex, it's easy for us to say 4 great straight wins. What does the manager say?
Well, I think that they are great wins, but I think it's obvious that with wins you get confidence, and today, some of our football today was absolutely magnificent. I was very proud of it.
Can you put your finger on why the team went 7 games without a win and now have had these 12 points out of 12?
Well, I thought we were playing well at the time we started drawing games at Tottenham. I think it started around the Tottenham game. We let them off the hook, went to Middlesbrough and let them off the hook. And from there it starts to creep into it all, with a bit of complacency. And then we didn't score in the Aston Villa games. And immediately there's a crisis. I mean, that's the way it is, this club. But I think there's some significant things at the return of Brian Robson and Louise Sharp. It steadied the ship. We got a good victory against Oldham, and we've just phones and send.
Do you think, in a way, you've given Manchester United an impetus now by getting to within 6 points of you? And, of course, every time they win a few games in a row, everybody says, well, they're going to win the championship.
Well, that's right, yeah. I mean, we win our next 3, and it's no different. I mean, we're still, what, 4, 5 points clear? You know, you're going to lose sometime. All I'm disappointed. I'm not disappointed in losing. You're going to lose games. I mean, you know, hopefully you don't lose too many. I'm just disappointed in the manner in which we played today, or didn't play. But I thought we defended well. You know, I mean, we tried to push forward the second half, and we left a few gaps in that, and the lads that were in there defended well, and I'm quite pleased with that. We're always in with a chance at 1-0, as you know.
Perhaps the day's most intriguing contest was at Villa Park. Aston Villa, reckoned by many now to be championship favourites, against a Nottingham Forest side at last gaining the results their quality football deserves. Roy Keane, released by the vision of Nigel Clough, giving Forest the lead with his 4th goal in 3 games on 9 minutes. Relentless pressure, though, duly produced a Villa equaliser after 34. The scorer, Cyril Regis, making only his 3rd start of the season, this as deputy for the injured Dalian Atkinson. Villa on top now, and 2 minutes into the second half they were in front. The winning goal from Paul McGrath, his first in the league for the club this term, and it was a real cracker. A majestic header from Ray Houghton's deep free kick that gave little chance to Mark Crossley in the Forest goal. At Loftus Road, a surprise win for Crystal Palace that seriously dents Queen's Park Rangers' title aspirations. Not that any of this seemed likely early on as Rangers took control. Les Ferdinand, unlucky not to score here. Rangers continued to impress, and on 25 minutes Gary Penrice broke through with a far post header. The supporting cast, the 2 Andys, Impey and then Sinton. But Rangers were made to rue other squandered opportunities as Palace came back strongly to transform the match in the second half. Only a minute after the restart, Eddie McGoldrick headed in Andy Thorne's long free kick. Rangers' normally fluent game disintegrated now, and Palace seized their chance. First, a scrambled goal from Chris Armstrong, 13 minutes from time, after Gareth Southgate had completely miskicked. Rangers' misery and Palace euphoria was complete a minute from the end, when Rangers goalkeeper Jan Stejskal, the Czech international, landed defender Clive Wilson in trouble. McGoldrick took full advantage, an instant if rather fortuitous chip from 25 yards. Only Palace's 2nd away win of the season. Eccentric goalkeeping too at White Hart Lane, but Eric Torsford's reckless moment ironically led to the only goal of the game, this in a fiercely contested North London derby. On 21 minutes, Gordon Jury's pass was inadvertently deflected into Paul Allen's path by Arsenal's Norwegian international defender, Carl Lydersen. Torsford, the other Norwegian on view, then performed heroics to protect Tottenham's lead just before half-time. First, a flying save to deny what would surely have been one of the best goals of Tony Adams' career. Then more acrobatics from Torsford to keep out Arsenal's other central defender, Steve Bold. Into the second half, and the temperamental Ian Wright, later in trouble for lashing out at David Howells, squandered an excellent chance. From Paul Merson's cross, he failed even to extend Torsford. For Tottenham, Nick Barmby, on as a substitute, revealed his pace and potential with a curling shot that clipped the bar. And Spurs went on to inflict on Arsenal their 4th Premier League defeat in a row. A stirring second-half recovery maintained Ipswich Town's unbeaten home record. This after Manchester City, chasing their first league win at Portman Road in 30 years, had taken the lead. A goal from Gary Flitcroft on 37 minutes. His first for the club since he graduated from the FA School of Excellence. Ipswich equalised on 58 minutes. Neil Thompson supplying the cross that Tony Coton in the City goal could only palm onto the head of Mick Stockwell. Four minutes later, Ipswich were in front. Phil Whelan's header cleared off the line by Niall Quinn. But Gavin Johnson's long-range header somehow squeezed past the helpless Coton. A third goal for Ipswich came just 2 minutes from time. Again Thompson involved, the provider this time for Paul Goddard, after Steve Whitten had headed the ball down. All very satisfying for Ipswich, 3-1 winners at Portman Road. Like so many clubs at the moment, Coventry City aren't exactly flush with money to invest on transfers. But surely the $250,000 Newcastle are seeking for Mickey Quinn will be money well spent. Quinn took only 6 minutes to score his 5th goal since his loan spell began from St James's Park. Southampton, playing much better of late, recovered soon enough. Neil Maddison with his second in successive games. This after Steve Ogrizovic had fumbled Matt Letizier's corner. But then on 25 minutes, it was Quinn's goal-scoring instincts again, scenting a chance as Tim Flowers saved bravely from Robert Rosario. Southampton were a consistent threat. Ogrizovic atoned for his earlier blemish with this superb stop from Francis Benali. No real surprise then when on 57 minutes confusion in the Coventry area led to another Southampton equaliser. Ian Dowie with a smart volley that Ogrizovic couldn't keep out. Quinn almost snatched a late winner with 10 minutes to go, but Coventry have gone now 11 matches without a win. Humbled a week ago by Nottingham Forest, the champions Leeds began repairing their damaged pride by condemning Yorkshire rivals Sheffield Wednesday to their 7th league game without a win. Leeds were gifted an opening goal on 32 minutes. A misunderstanding between England keeper Chris Woods and central defender Nigel Pearson. The ball headed straight into the path of Gary Speed. The lead, though, lasted only 5 minutes. An equaliser for Sheffield Wednesday when Roland Nilsson's shot was deflected past John Lukic. But Leeds regained control in the second half. Just 2 minutes after the break, former Wednesday striker Lee Chapman pounced for his 13th goal of the campaign. This from a cross from the outstanding Gordon Strachan. Some static Sheffield Wednesday defending. At the other end, Wednesday wasted chances to save a point, and 11 minutes from the end, Leeds sealed their win, a stinging shot from Gary Speed, and an unlikely scoring entrance for the veteran substitute Imre Varadi, making his first senior appearance for Leeds for over a year. After the euphoria of beating Liverpool, Everton arrived at Bramall Lane in the best of spirits, but left with nothing. The decisive word came from Adrian Littlejohn, set up by Brian Dean's header on 34 minutes. Everton certainly had chances to save it. The closest to a goal, Paul Rideout's effort spectacularly tipped over the bar by Alan Kelly in the Sheffield United goal. United held on for the slender win that eases their own relegation worries. The performance of the day came from an unexpected source, struggling Wimbledon at last piecing it all together. Naive Oldham marking first allowed defender Neil Artley to convert a long throw by Vinnie Jones. This on 17 minutes. Then on 24 from Brian McAllister's free kick, a goal for Dean Holdsworth, his first since early September. Wimbledon's third goal was much the same as the first. Laurie Sanchez, though, this time flicking the ball on for Ardley to score. No doubt with some sound advice from Joe Royle, their manager, still ringing in their ears, Oldham came out 5 minutes early for the second half and immediately gave themselves fresh hope. A goal from Mark Brennan as Wimbledon now lost their concentration at the back. This Brennan's first for Oldham since his move from Manchester City last month. But two further goals then shattered Oldham. First, a mistake by Steve Redmond enabled Robbie Earle to find Andy Clark for Wimbledon's fourth. That was on 50 minutes, and less than 60 seconds later, Oldham's defence crumbled again. They failed to clear Ardley's cross, and Holdsworth made it 5 with his second of the game. McMilligan at the second attempt pulled another one back for Oldham on 63 minutes, but unless they tighten up defensively, they look relegation certainties on this showing. And all this in front of the lowest Premier League attendance of the season so far, a mere 3,386.
Well, I regret to announce that Kenny Dalglish told the board yesterday of his wish to retire as team manager. Ever since then, the board have made strenuous attempts to make him change his mind. As he will tell you himself, he's determined to give up active participation in professional football. He has assured us that there is nothing we can do to alter his decision.
It's nearly 2 years now since that revelation, and today Kenny Dalglish is back at Anfield. His success at Liverpool has of course continued at Blackburn, and although it'll be an emotional occasion for Dalglish, there'll be no slackening in his desire for victory. 3 points here would take Blackburn into second place. Describing the action from Anfield, match commentator Paul Dempsey.
Kenny Dalglish's old striking partner Ian Rush returns after injury for Liverpool. He replaces Don Hutchison, who was a victim of the Liverpool defeat in midweek in the Merseyside derby. Liverpool seeking to bounce back from that painful defeat at the hands of Everton. 28 matches already played by this group of players. Liverpool the busiest team on all fronts in England, but they know that they can't really afford any more slip-ups if they're to have any say in the title race after Christmas. Blackburn Rovers perhaps even surpassing the hopes of their most ardent fans on their elevation to the top flight. A win here can lift them back second in the table. They've won only 2 of their last 7 league matches, but they have the best defensive record anywhere in the Premier League. One surprise in their lineup, the relegation of Stuart Ripley to substitute today, but Rovers are back to full strength after a sub-strength outfit hammered 6 past Watford in the cup in midweek. Jones once more. Rosenthal. Liverpool busy around the edge of the box, but so far no way through that pack of Blackburn defenders. Barnes, can he manufacture something? Maybe. It just wouldn't go. It nearly went for Rosenthal and then for Rush. May with the throw. Neil got there again. Wilcox, will it come down for Cairns? Magnificent save by Hooper. Just where he had to be. That's been coming for a minute or two. Right in so fast, and he continued. Classic Blackburn counter-attacking stuff. Knock it forward and chase it. Newell. No! Just an inch or two away.
Marsh. That's more of the first half style of passing from Mike Marsh. Walters, Barnes, Hendry's tackle. Now Nicol. Barnes again. Beautifully done by Barnes. A magnificent save by Bobby Mims. Absolutely brilliant. The record goal scorer for Liverpool, Ian Rush, must have thought that ball over the line. Mark Wright. Moran stood his ground well, but Marsh is coming to life again and being an influence after a quiet spell. Walters, faced by May. Walters! With one of the goals of the season! How is that for an arrival? How can you defend against that? 78 minutes. At last the breakthrough. Walters one-on-one against May. Found himself a yard, and that's the result. A magnificent strike. First touch for Ripley. It's a great ball to Newell. Can he keep his head down? Well covered by Mark Wright. There's thrills galore in the last 10 minutes or so at Anfield here. Wegley's first touch, the corner. Hendry the big man. Shearer. What a response by England's top scorer! A fantastic equaliser with 9 minutes to go. And even Ray Harford beside Dalglish cannot really believe that quality. That is what you pay the money for, and you hope he'll deliver on days just like this. Hendry's header just keeping it alive. He is electric, this man Shearer. We're all square again. Blackburn have attacked remorselessly since half-time. Now they're rewarded. Goal number 20 for the hot property. Picnic apparently recovered after a very, very dodgy spell early in the second half. Rush dropped deep. Barnes broke off him. He was offside. The goal again by Alan Shearer. How do you mark against that? McManaman for Liverpool. Wright does the chasing, he's very quick, the little flat. Wegley tidying up with Moran. Blackburn trying to keep composed. Walters fed by Nicol. Another good touch from Walters to Barnes. Still might come down for Liverpool, might come from McManaman. And it goes for Walters! They were opened up by the wide men. And it's the wide man who restores Liverpool's lead with 5 minutes to go. Brilliant work. Again from Marsh and Rush. And a brilliant cross converted. McManaman the right winger. Walters the left winger. Liverpool lead again. Unrestrained joy on the top. Souness against Dalglish is won by Souness. Blackburn go home empty-handed on one of the few occasions so far this season. A vital home win for Liverpool means they stay in the championship race. Liverpool 2, Blackburn Rovers 1.
So a check first on the bottom of the Premier League. Forest still in trouble despite their recent improvement. Good wins for Crystal Palace and Wimbledon have eased their plight a little, but Oldham's worries are worsening. At the top, the championship race is really hotting up now. Aston Villa are the new favourites, but Norwich continue to lead the way despite their defeat at Old Trafford. Manchester United's own title prospects were clearly enhanced by a victory that thrilled manager Alex Ferguson. The hero of the day, Welsh international striker Mark Hughes. 4 wins in a row for United, he scored in all of them.